Hey everybody, welcome back. We're going to be doing a deep dive into resilience today.
Uh,
You know how to handle those curveballs life throws at you and come back even stronger, even when things don't go your way. Something I think a lot about, and I know a lot of you do too.
yeah, setbacks is something we all deal with, right? I
Oh,
mean, everyone.
absolutely, and we always talk about achieving success. But what about those moments when things just totally don't go to plan?
Mm,
How can we use those to actually grow from them instead of letting them hold us back?
yeah, that's the big question. How do you take something negative and turn it into something positive? It actually made me think about this family I was reading about. They sailed around the world
Wow.
and they ran into all kinds of problems along the way, equipment failures, storms, all kinds of crazy stuff. But every time something went wrong, they didn't just overcome it, they learned from it.
I'm hooked already.
Ah.
What's their secret? How'd they turn setbacks into comeback stories?
Well, it's not like there's some magic formula or anything, but there are definitely some important strategies that we can all learn from. And one of the most important is to just accept reality, instead of pretending the setback didn't happen.
Yeah, it's like if you're caught in a storm while you're sailing,
Right.
you can't just pretend it's not there.
Yeah, exactly. You got to acknowledge it so you can find a way to get through it.
Exactly.
And it's the same in life. We need to confront what's happening if we want to move forward. One of the sources we'll be looking at today is called Where the Magic Happens, and it talks all about facing your fears and challenges head on.
Love it. It's kind of like that saying, what you resist persists. The more you ignore something, the stronger it gets.
Yeah, and the authors of Where the Magic Happens, they found that by dealing with those tough situations, you can actually open up incredible growth and change within yourself. It's all about moving from denial to acceptance and then focusing on what you can learn from it.
So step one is accepting it happened. But what's next? How do you actually start to make that comeback?
Okay, well, once you've accepted things, the next step is to reframe your thinking. So instead of thinking about what went wrong or what you lost, ask yourself, what can I learn from this?
Like find the hidden lesson, right? Turn those lemons into lemonade.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the real magic of turning things around begins. Think about that sailing family we were talking about. They were in the middle of the Pacific Ocean when their autopilot broke down.
Oh no.
Yeah, it could have been a total disaster,
For sure.
but they used it as a chance to get better at problem solving.
Wow, that's amazing. So they didn't freak out. They actually turned it into something good.
Yeah,
Good.
they focused on finding a way to fix it and work together,
Yeah.
and it really brought them closer as a team.
What a powerful story.
Yeah,
It shows how just changing your perspective can make a world of difference.
absolutely.
But it must take a certain kind of mindset to see setbacks as opportunities.
Right.
Love
Oh,
that.
definitely. And that's where the idea of a growth mindset comes in.
Okay, I've heard of that, but what does it actually mean?
So a growth mindset is basically believing that your abilities can always be developed. They're not fixed. You can always grow with effort and dedication. So someone with this mindset doesn't see a setback as a failure. They see it as a chance to learn and get better.
Okay, I see how that connects to turning things around. If you believe you can grow from challenges, then a setback is just like a little detour on the road to success.
Exactly. And that brings us to another really important part of turning setbacks into comebacks, keeping the big picture in mind.
You mean not letting those temporary obstacles stop us from reaching our long-term goals?
That's exactly it. Remember that family sailing around the world. They had a very clear goal, and they didn't let anything stop them from achieving it. They could have given up so many times, but they stayed focused.
So it's about reminding ourselves why we started on this journey in the first place and never losing sight of that even when things get tough. That's so powerful.
And speaking of taking action, once we've accepted the setback, reframed it, and remembered our big picture, what comes next?
Well, I guess it's time to take action. But what kind of action?
Decisive action. Even if it's just small steps, it can help you feel in control and start moving towards a solution. Another book we'll be looking at called Be More Human talks about how important it is to make quick decisions, especially when you've had a setback.
So don't get stuck overthinking it.
Yes.
Just take action even if it's not perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like imagine a big business deal falls apart. The worst thing you can do is just dwell on it and let it freeze you up.
Right. You'd want to figure out what happened, talk to your team, and come up with a new plan.
Exactly. That's the kind of proactive approach that helps people bounce back.
It's about being a problem solver, not a problem dweller.
Hmm.
Love it. But we can't always do it alone, right? Sometimes we need some help.
Absolutely. And that's where communication and teamwork come in.
Oh, I bet that sailing family had to rely on each other a lot to get through those tough times.
Oh, yeah, they did. And they were really open and honest with each other about their struggles and their plans.
So it's all about building trust and making sure everyone's on the same page. Whether you're leading a team at work, going through something as a family, or even just dealing with a personal setback, communication is key.
Totally. It's about working together and building resilience as a team. And that leads us to another super important part of turning setbacks into comebacks, cultivating a resilient mindset.
So we're talking about inner strength, right? The ability to bounce back from anything. How do you actually build that up inside yourself?
That's it exactly. And it's something we can all work on individually and as teams. Think back to that sailing family. They faced so many obstacles that really tested their resilience.
But they just kept going, right? They didn't let it break them.
Exactly. They stayed strong, they supported each other, and found a way through even the toughest situations.
So whether it's a project that failed or a chance you missed or even just a really rough day, resilience helps you get back up and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
But how do we actually get more resilient? What are some practical things we can do?
Well, a few things come to mind. One is having a good support system. Like, remember that sailing family? They had each other to lean on when things got rough.
Yeah, it's like they say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Having those people to support you and lift you up makes such a difference when things are hard.
Totally. And it's not just about having people to lean on, it's about actually asking for help when you need it. It's okay to reach out.
Yeah, that's so true. Sometimes we try to be tough and handle everything ourselves,
Hmm.
but sometimes asking for help is the best way to get through it.
Exactly. And another thing is taking care of yourself both physically and mentally. Things like exercise, getting enough sleep, or maybe trying some mindfulness practices.
So it's not just about pushing through, it's also about knowing when to rest and recharge.
Yeah, exactly. And this kind of goes hand in hand with having a positive outlook, focusing on what you can control even when things feel crazy.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you focus on the stuff you can't change, it just makes you more stressed and harder to move on.
Right. And that brings us to another powerful tool for turning things around, teamwork.
Ah, I love this one. Because it means we don't have to do it all alone.
Exactly. You got it. Think about that sailing trip again. Everyone in that family had a really important role to play. They had to work together to be successful, especially when they hit those bumps in the road.
So whether you're tackling a problem at work, dealing with something in your personal life, or even sailing around the world, teamwork can make all the difference.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work right.
Absolutely.
And it shows how important it is to collaborate, share responsibility, and be united when you're facing a challenge. A team working together is always going to be stronger than any one person on their own.
Couldn't agree more. And when you're working as a team, it's important to celebrate those small wins along the way. I think that helps a lot to keep spirits up and keep moving forward.
You're so right. Remember how the sailing family celebrated all those little milestones, like crossing the equator or making it through a storm? Those small wins kept them going and reminded them how far they'd come.
It's like those little wins are like fuel that keep you going when the finish line seems miles away.
Exactly. They help you remember that you're making progress, even if you can't always see it. And this brings us to the last piece of the puzzle reflection.
So once you've made it through a setback and things are back on track, you got to take some time to think about what happened and why.
Exactly. Like, remember how that sailing family did a big debrief after their trip? They took time to process all the highs and lows and learn from it all.
It's like they use their setbacks as stepping stones to become even stronger and more successful.
Exactly. By figuring out what went wrong, you can find ways to improve and change your approach for next time. And that's the key to turning setbacks into comebacks.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole new way of looking at setbacks now. It's not about avoiding them, it's about how you handle them.
Right. With the right mindset and the right approach, you can turn those challenges into opportunities to grow, learn, and make amazing comebacks.
Yeah, it's not about never messing up. It's about getting back up when you do.
Exactly. And that makes me think about something we haven't really touched on yet. Self-compassion. Especially when you're dealing with a setback.
Oh, that's a good one. It's easy to beat yourself up when things go wrong, but how can we be kinder to ourselves in those moments?
Well, it starts with remembering that setbacks are normal. Everyone goes through them. So instead of being super hard on yourself, try treating yourself with the same kindness you'd show a friend in the same situation.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like giving yourself permission to be human. We're all still learning and growing, right?
Exactly. Self-compassion isn't about making excuses. It's about being more supportive of yourself so you can learn from those experiences.
So don't dwell on what you should have done differently. Focus on what you can learn for next time.
Exactly. And this brings us back to reflection. Taking time to really understand what happened without judging yourself can help you see patterns and avoid making the same mistakes in the future.
It's like that saying, experience is the best teacher, but sometimes the tuition is high. We can learn so much from our setbacks if we're willing to look at them with an open mind and a kind heart.
I love that. It really sums up how to turn setbacks into opportunities for growth. And, when I think about everything we've talked about today, like acceptance, reframing, having a growth mindset, self-compassion, teamwork, and reflection, it really shows that resilience is a skill you can build.
It's not something you're born with. It's something you develop through experience and the choices you make.
Absolutely. And that's such a powerful thing to realize. It means that no matter what life throws at you, you have the power to turn those tough times into triumphs.
This has been such an inspiring deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of setbacks, and I'm more confident that I can overcome them.
Me too. And as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a little challenge. Think about a recent setback you've had in your personal life or maybe at work. Now, pick one of the strategies we talked about today and come up with a plan for how you can use it to turn that setback into a comeback.
Love it. It's time to take these ideas and make them happen. And hey, if you're looking for more support and guidance on your journey, remember to check out the Maximized You YouTube channel. They have tons of awesome resources to help you reach your full potential. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into resilience and turning setbacks into comebacks. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.